Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina. Welcome back to the channel. Today, it's Flosstube number 7. It's Saturday, April 19th, the day before Easter, and today I'm just spending some time in my craft room. The past few weeks, I've been doing nothing but spring cleaning in my entire house. I have one room left, but I'm waiting for that one because we're getting new furniture for our living room, and I don't want to spring clean it until just before, so this way everything is nice and fresh when our furniture arrives, but that's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. So I have a little bit of time, so I'm giving myself a little bit of a spring cleaning break because now the weather's finally getting nice and we need to move outside and get the porch set up, get our deck set up, get our gardens weeded because our flower beds are just filled with weeds. So we've got to get that done. And we're almost at the time where we can even start cutting the grass because we went from winter to spring to winter to spring to winter to spring. And I think we're at spring now. We'll see what happens during the next week, but it's been a little crazy. And usually we don't plant flowers or do anything like that until May because there are still chances of frost between now and in the middle of May. So we're just kind of preparing a little earlier than we normally do. Normally we wait until the last minute because that's usually how we roll, do things at the last minute. But this year we're trying to get things done a little bit earlier in the season so we can enjoy it longer and not wait until too late and then we don't have time to enjoy the early spring because we're too busy setting everything up. So we are going to be working on that soon. Other than that, our new cats that we we adopted in January are doing fantastic. They've adjusted really well. One of them we did find out has a little bit of a urinary problem. So we thought she had an infection, but it turns out she might have another problem. So right now she's on special food and hoping that kind of solves everything for it. If not, she may have to go on medication, but we're hoping the food works. Although the food is really expensive, so either way, it's still going to cost us, but we'll do anything for our cats. These are our second set of cats. They're sisters and they're just the sweetest things. And they follow me everywhere, which I love, but they don't spend time up in my craft room. They seem to not make their way up here for some reason. And right now they're downstairs sleeping and taking naps. And when I go back downstairs to cross stitch, I'm sure they will be right next to me because that's usually what happens. So let's hop into today's cross stitching and what I have gotten done so far for over the last, I think it's been 3 weeks since I posted a video. I've been trying to do my videos monthly, so at least once a month you get an update on my cross stitching. But let's hop into that. Today I'm going to first share with you a fully finished, and this one I just started a couple of weeks ago and did it within a week, and I love the way they turned out. It is so cute. Yes, I said they because there's more than one part. So I am going to share that. I just have to grab the paper, and this is the design. So this one is called Forgotten Farm. It's called Carrot Top, and I absolutely love it. I did it in the 36 count vintage smoky white linen, and I used the called for DMC floss, and I love them. I just think they're so stinking cute. I had started another one for Easter. I did finish it, but it's not fully finished, and I wanted to get something that I could fully finish, and I picked this because I thought it would come together really quickly, and it did. Now, one thing I will say is that I do wish the marbling on the fabric. So this is supposed to have like a little bit of marbling. You can see it even in the picture. You can see that there's marbling in it, and I use the same fabric. But to get that dark marbling, I had to do it in the middle of the fabric, which I want to use this fabric for something else. So I just went up in the corner and did it right in the corner of the fabric, and you could see a little bit of marbling, but it's not a whole lot. But I do love the way these turned out. So I made these into little pillows. And I will tell you that when I sewed them together, I forgot to leave a spot to stuff the pillow on both of them. And I probably could have torn them apart, but I was a little nervous about doing that and ruining the space because I did not really give myself a whole lot of space in between this design and this little carrot, and I had to just kind of go right in between, and it was just enough so I had enough space on both sides for my pillows. So what I ended up doing was I just took my scissors and cut a little hole in the back of the fabric, and this fabric is by Sweetwater. And then I just took a piece of felt and put it across the back so it looks like a band. And I probably could have sewn that in, but I just just glued it down and put a couple tacks, sewing tacks in. For the side, I used some chenille trim by Lady Dot Creates, and then I also used some Lady Dot Creates ribbon at the top just to create this little tiny bow on both of them. And I love the way they turned out. They sit in a little dough bowl here or not here, but in my entryway as you walk into the house, and I love them. So it works out really nice. I did some felt bunny rabbits as well for a previous video, which I will link below or link at the end of this video, and they all kind of just live together in a little dough bowl, and I really like them. So those were the ones that I did for Easter. That was my Easter finish, because last year I just got back into cross stitching and I didn't do anything Easter because at the beginning of the year I wasn't fully into cross stitching. I was working on one project, then would work on another, and I didn't get to Easter because I took a little break until I think like May, and then I really dived into cross stitching. So I had nothing Easter and I wanted to get something fully finished, and that's when I decided just to do these two little guys and make these into my fully finished for this year for Easter. Now, I did start another Easter project, and that one is by Brenda Jarvet. It's the Hop into Spring. And for this one, I did it on 36 count Alberium Cedar River linen, and I love it. I finished this one off. Let me get these out of the way so you can see just our project. Oops, let's turn it around too. So I finished this one off a couple of weeks ago, and then I jumped into finishing the carrot top ones, and I love this. And my plan was to find a frame to put it in, but you know how hard it is to find a 5x10 frame, because that's what I would need to finish this. It's very hard, and I wanted to do it in a frame, but that 5x10 frame is really hard to locate, at least one that I liked. So what I ended up doing was going ahead and buying the design board, which is what they show in this one. This is by Chantel 141 Designs, and I picked that up. So I just ordered that this past week. It's already here. So today my plan is to get this fully finished so I can put it on display for tomorrow. And I will give you just a couple of things that I messed up on this one. Now, none of it's noticeable because I fixed it. One of the biggest things is I like to take a picture of the pattern with my phone, and then I'll do just small sections. So for this one, I did like half of it, and then I did the other half. And the reason why I do that is just makes it easier for me to zoom in, and then I can also use my pencil, my Apple Pencil, to mark off what I stitched. It makes it so much easier. For me, I don't want to mark my patterns up, so that's what I do. And half the time the glare from taking the photo is not the best, but that's what I like to do. And what I did was I was stitching, well, I think I had finished stitching this bunny rabbit, and then I was going over to stitch this one. What I didn't realize, or didn't even think to do, is to pull up the other image that has the bunny rabbit that's facing to the left, and I stitched the bunny rabbit to the right. So I had two bunny rabbits running that way and not the way it was supposed to be. So I had to pull this one out, and of course I stitched like 90%, maybe 85% of this bunny rabbit before I realized it. So I had to do a lot of ripping out of the stitches and then restitching the bunny rabbit. So that kind of took me a little bit longer than I expected. I was working on this exclusively because this is what I wanted to be my first Easter for the season, and I messed that up. And then I couldn't find a frame to put it in, ordered the board. So that's when I started Carrot Top. So at least I had one fully finished. And then if I can, I'm going to get this framed out today. It depends on how long it takes for the staining to dry. That I'll have this on display for tomorrow for Easter. Really excited. So that is that one. And I'm just going to move on. I have some spring. I have one spring that I'm working on, but I think I'm done with Easter for this year. Maybe beginning of next year I'll start Easter again. But that one, that Brenda Jarvet one, was so much fun. And I feel like I'm having a Brenda Jarvet year because everything I'm about to show you of things I'm working on is Brenda Jarvet. But I absolutely love her designs. They are so pretty. So I'm just going to clean up this little mess here so I can get to the things that I'm currently working on and share those with you. And then I have some things that I plan on working on in the future. So let's do that. I'm going to start with, well, let's see. I got my Carrot Top sitting over here, and I'm trying to film this without doing any editing. So cross your fingers that I can do that, because I usually mess up and then have to edit. So the next one is one I showed you before. This is one that I did, I've been working on since the beginning of the year. This is kind of my year-long project, and I want to get it done by the end of the year. If I can get it done sooner, that'd be even great. But that one is this every opening flower. And I showed this at the beginning of the year, and I love this. Another Brenda Jarvet. And I did do some stitching on it. I think I shared with you last time that I've gotten some stitching done. Got a random thread there. And I think most of this was done. I added a couple letters. That was all that I've done. It's not a huge amount of progress, but I do want to make sure that I pick this up so that by the end of the year this is completely done. It'd be great if I get it done sooner. But that one, I'm loving this one. This part that I did do already did come together really fast. I hate doing alphabets and letters, but I will tell you, now that I've done it a couple of times, it's gotten a little bit better, and I don't mind them as much as I used to. But I really was not a fan, and the thoughts of doing all these letters was not something I was really enjoying coming to work on. But it's, I'm loving this pattern, and I don't want to stop, but I want to do other things too. So this is, like I said, the one I'm going to work on because it's a pretty big sampler, and I'm going to do that throughout the year. So another one that I'm currently working on is another Brenda Jarvet, because like I said, I'm having a Brenda Jarvet year. And that one is this Tis Spring. And I love this one. The only thing is I don't remember if this came out for Nashville this year or if it's something from last year. But I love this one. So let's get this in a better view for you. Isn't that gorgeous? So I did start working on this one, and I am loving it. I'm using all of the called for over dye thread. I'm stitching it on 40 count, which is my very first time using 40 count linen. And it's the Vintage Country Mocha, and I'm loving it. So let's just give you the down camera here, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So this is the over dye thread. Well, there's some over dye. There's DMC in here as well. Most of them are the over dyes, and I am loving this. Loving it. And it just started it this week, and I feel like I've gotten quite a bit done for something that I just started this week. Let's just get this little pin out of here, and I'll tell you about my little bands here in a second. We'll talk about my project first. So this is Vintage Country Mocha 40 count using the called for over dye threads, and I love it. Now I will say I am not loving my bird. The bird is stitched using Weeks Dye Works. Weeks Dye Works Palomino, and my Weeks Dye Works Palomino, because it is a hand dyed, over dyed thread, it's got a little bit more orange in it, and that's what's coming off on my bird. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch this completely out, finish everything up. So I still have the wreath and the hello at the top and the house, and then a little couple of extra decorations. Still have a lot to do on it, but I'm going to wait until I'm done. And if this is still sticking out to me, I might restitch it in a different shade of a brown color, because that is just, I don't know. It's just not right now. It's not sitting right, but I want to get further along. So, and it's also the very first time that the pattern calls for you to coffee stain 2 of your threads. One of them was, is it robin's egg? I think it was robin's egg, to kind of take down the brightness of the color. So yeah, robin's egg. And you can see that it's got a little bit of a toned down look than a brighter robin's egg that you normally would use. And that's because the instructions tell you to put it into a dark cup of coffee, let it sit for 2 minutes, and then put it in the oven for a few minutes, like at 200 degrees. I didn't do that because that kind of made me nervous. And what I did was I just let it hand dry, just set it out to dry. And I prepped that a long time ago. So when it was time to sit down and stitch this, that was ready to go. And then there was another color I had to do the same thing to. And I don't remember off the top of my head what color that was, but I am loving this. It is a lot of fun. I was stitching this last night. I did the finished off the bird this morning. And, oh, I did have a little bit of an error on this one. So I wasn't, again, I shouldn't watch TV while I'm stitching, especially something that I'm really paying attention to, like a house, and just getting the outline done and then filling that in is easy that I can watch and stitch at the same time. But if I'm just stitching and doing something that requires me to really pay attention to that stitch, I shouldn't be watching TV. Because what I did was I did center. I started center in this one. Normally I don't start center. Sometimes I just start up in the corner. But this one I wanted to make sure that it was in the center because I know I'm going to frame this one. So I started with these flowers, went straight down and started spring. Well, for some reason, my head was telling me that this was the P. So I had the PRING and it went off to the side. And when I got to doing this little part of the grass right here, I realized it's not going over as far as it's supposed to because the G and the exclamation point was way over here. And I realized what I did. So what I ended up doing was I had to remove all of this, take out the bottom half of the, no, I took out all of this, and then with the R or the P, what I thought was the R, I made that into the R, which is the same shape. It's just that I had to add this little tail and then finished off on both sides. And then somehow I still managed to figure out how to stitch this little section above the SP. This is why I should not be stitching while watching TV, because I make mistakes like that, and they're sometimes very silly mistakes. But like I said, this is my first time stitching on a 40 count fabric, and it wasn't bad. I thought it was going to be really hard. I don't have the best vision as I get older, but it actually worked out really well. So what I do with these little things that I just recently purchased, I have been using, let me grab one. I've been using these things, and these are just wraps that go around your embroidery thread or spools of thread, and it keeps your thread in place so it doesn't unravel. But I was using these to put around my fabric when I'm stitching in hand. And what's happening is I end up, if it's a bigger piece of fabric, I end up with this weird little crink right in the fabric. So I wanted to try something different, and I saw these when I was on Amazon. I believe they have longer ones too. These are just shorter ones. And I am trying these out. What I like so far, what I'm liking about these is all I do is just, I roll the fabric up. I take my little cord wrapper, is what it actually is. I usually put one towards the top and one towards the bottom, depends on where I'm working. I'll switch them around, and it actually helps because then it makes it a little even. These things are heavy, so if you're using a lot of fabric, it feels like it's weighing the side down, and I felt like it was causing me to drop my fabric more often. But this is working out really well, and what I do then is I have my needle here, and I just use that as a pin keep. Usually I just throw my extra thread in here, which I thought I had thread in here, but maybe not, and then I'll just roll it up and then put it into my bag. And it just kind of holds everything in this little like taco. And I love it. It's been working out really well so far. I'm going to play with it some more. But these things work out really well. It's just that if I'm using a lot of fabric, they feel like it's weighing that fabric down more than it needs to be. All right, I don't know what happened. My front view camera has decided it's not going to connect to my recording software, but that's okay. You don't need to see me. So we're just going to finish everything off from the down view, which is okay because we are just going to focus on what my plans are stitching next. And one of the things I want to stitch next is this Stacy Nash. This is extremely popular. Everybody is stitching Maggie May or some type of animal cracker. I wanted to order this one of the times I was ordering something online and it was gone. So I just said, okay, well, it's not for me for this year. And then for some reason, I felt like going on Stacey Nash's website, and I realized she has it as a download. So that is what I did. So I ordered it as a download. Of course, now we're getting towards Easter, which is tomorrow. So I'm not going to get it done for Easter, but I still think I'm going to work on it very soon. I did also, while I was there, ordered a couple of other Stacey Nash downloads. Jack's House, which is a beautiful fall. I love that. And then Wonderful Life Pin Keep Drum. I just thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to work probably on this one. I have to order the thread and everything for this one because I looked and I think there's only one of the threads that I have, although I could probably use any colors, but of course the main color for my bunny is not the color I have. So I'm going to have to order that one. This is one I have already ready to go. I just need to decide on my fabric, but I already pulled the thread. I did have to buy one or two of the colors, but some of it I already had, and I'm looking forward to working on this one. I probably am just going to do it in the DMC, although we'll see if I end up changing it to any of the overcast or over dyed colors. But I really love this. I love the blues, and I just thought this would be so pretty to have on display for the summer. I just think that's really pretty. So another one that I want to work on is by Shakespeare Peddler, and I love this one. Now, this is stitched in a sample. It was Nashville Market exclusive limited edition thread that I did not get. I just went with the DMC conversion. However, I may switch these over to some overdye colors. Like this might be, I think it's Weeks Dye Works that has a pretty raspberry color. I might do it that way. Not totally sure, but this is one I'm definitely going to stitch out soon. This is stitched out on 40 count natural Newcastle linen, but I think I'm going to do mine on a raw finish, and I think that would be really pretty. So that's that one. My throat's getting dry from talking too much. All right, so the next one is going to be is by Teresa Kogut. Oh boy, every time I go to say her name in my head, I have it right. When I go to say it out loud, I feel like I'm not saying it right. So if I'm messing it up, I am so sorry. It's just that I know how to say it, but it just doesn't want to come out right. But this is one that I picked up from Nashville Market. It's My Heart is Fed, and I love this one. I want this one stitched out really badly so that I can hang it up here in my crafty room. And with my little initials on there, I just love this. I did go ahead recently and ordered the thread. I have my 40 count. This is left over from my Tis Spring. I think I did it with Tis Spring. Yeah, Tis Spring is done in the Vintage Country Mocha, and it's 40 count. So I think I'm going to use this as my fabric for this one, which is kind of why I bought it. I just have to wait for the rest of the thread to come. I have a couple of the colors, but one of them I really needed to get was the Cayenne because it needs 2 skeins, and I do have one, but I wanted to make sure when I bought them together because you never know, your color that you have might be a little bit lighter or darker versus the color you order. So if I needed to, I figured I'd just order 2 and save my Cayenne, especially because it's not a full thing of Cayenne, so it's been used for another project. But all right, so enough rambling on that one. And then the very last one that I want to start and have ordered the threads for that one is the Folk Art Garden, also by Teresa Kogut. Did I say it right that time? Maybe. I want to stitch this one. I love this one. I'm waiting for, I did order some X2 Designs fabric in the dark soil, which I'm waiting for that to come. That is going to be the fabric that's going to be used for this. And then I do have also the threads on order because I had nothing for this one and needed to order the threads. I am slowly building my thread collection and just recently subscribed to 2 different thread clubs, so hopefully that will help me build my collection, because right now I just order them as I need them and I have nothing that I can play with to switch colors out if I want to try sampling different colors. So I did, subscribe to 2 different clubs, and yeah, so that is one of the other ones I'm going to work on. I'm going to finish off the Tis Spring. The Hop into Spring is the one I finished. Tis Spring is the one I need to work on. I'm going to finish that off, and then I am going to start maybe working on yet another one. Now, my very last thing I want to share is a sewing project. Now, this first part, this is bad because I had no clue what I was doing. This was the first time I was ever sewing a little bag. It came out great. Problem was, I did not have the right lining for the or the interfacing for this. I decided I was going to try to make my own personalized tag, which that didn't work out. I didn't even put it in the right spot. So this was my first time doing this. If I didn't put the tag on there, I would have been okay. I have even a lining zipper. I was like pretty impressed with myself until I realized I put that tag in the wrong spot. I probably might be able to cut it out of there and just have, I don't know. But I did order the right interfacing and I did try it again and I love it. And I even did it, I don't know if you could see that, but I did it as a quilting. So it has a little bit of a quilting pattern to it and got it all done. It does have a different kind of inside. I did the lining in a blue with little white flowers. And I love this. This is actually going to go into my purse for the summer. I always have a little bag in my purse that has like my chapstick and, medication in case I need it, hand cream, that kind of thing. So that's going to go into my work bag. But I was pretty impressed with my sewing skills to be able to even do these little zipper covers on the end. I don't know what you call these, tabs, covers. Eventually, I'm going to figure out how to do my own labels. I've watched videos. I think I have the supplies. I might be able to make my own tabs, but I wanted to do it like my initial right on the side here, just kind of sticking out. I thought that'd be fun. So, all right. Well, sorry that I can't show my face for the last half of this video. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed Flosstube number 7. I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I post new videos, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.